Okay, this video is for John, but anybody who wants to watch this video is welcome to, because this is the results of my fantasy football draft from last night, August 26th, 2017. I'm sorry, 2018. Jeez, I was looking at 17 numbers to compare them. But anyway, this is what happened, and your draft will probably vary, as all drafts do, because, well, I'll explain as I go. So, okay, here at the top row you can see Gurley first, right? That's no surprise. Bell next, no surprise. Antonio Brown, that's a little early, but okay, we're in Pittsburgh, I get it. Zeke, David Johnson. This is the guy that had David Johnson last year and he got hurt. I was drafted first and I got Bell, and he was drafted second and he got Johnson, and yeah, he didn't make the playoffs. Fournette, that was a reach. Kamara, I like that one. And then it was my turn. I'm drafting 8th here. So the next person on my list was DeAndre Hopkins. And I really did not want to go running back. I wanted to go running back. But I ended up in 8th position. And the next running back on my list was Saquon Barkley. And I'm sorry, I don't care who Saquon Barkley is. I don't care if he was born to be a running back. I am not going to draft a rookie running back who already is not practicing because of a hamstring on one of the worst teams in the NFL last year. Yeah, I'm not doing it. So I picked DeAndre Hopkins. So instead of, you can see based on the colors here, so orange, if you're not colorblind, orange is wide receiver, and yellow is running back, white is quarterbacks, we'll get to that, and green is tight ends. So the first thing that I learned was that my whole draft strategy just went to pot. So we go down, somebody else picks up Saquon, Julio Jones goes, Devontae Adams goes. I don't even know who that is, but my God. And then Kareem Hunt, that actually makes sense. A.J. Green, I thought that was a reach. Dalvin Cook, yes. Gordon, yes. Melvin Gordon for San Diego, great pick in the second round. That should have been, that's about right. It should be actually around the end of the first round. There's a couple stupid picks here. These two, actually. But he's the guy that's in the committee with him, I forget his name now, is hurt. So he's going to have a lot of time with the ball early in the season. Coming up the road here, I thought for sure somebody would pick either a tight end, either one of the two best tight ends, or another running back, and I was going to have to deliberate over whether I wanted Odell Beckham Jr. The guy's a knucklehead. I don't want him on my team. But for fantasy purposes, you know, he gets a ton of catches. But again, he's on a terrible, terrible team. So I was really glad when somebody else picked OBJ. So I ended up with Keenan Allen, who I had last year, and he was really great. So here's my strategy. What I really wanted to do was, I thought maybe in one of my scenarios, get a wide receiver and then come back and pick either Gronk, who I had last year and actually had a pretty good year, didn't get hurt too much, or Travis Kelce. But there's Keenan Allen laying out there. And there's no way he should still be around. He should have gone somewhere down here, and there's no way he should have been around. He's like, on my list, I think Keenan Allen was the, here, let me check here. Under wide receivers, he's like the 4th best wide receiver. So how could I pass that up? So I didn't. So I went WR. I can't believe I did that. But see, look, who's the next best running back, all right? I mean, I didn't realize that these guys were all going to, you know, if I picked a running back at that point, I'm basically left with on my list, Christian McCaffrey, who I ended up getting anyway in the 3rd round. So that worked out pretty well. So that was, anyway, so now it gets a little weird. Okay, somebody goes after Rodgers, which, you know, that's okay. It's a little early, but he gets him. And then Alshon Jeffrey, I thought he was out. And then Gronk goes. And then Russell Wilson goes. And I don't get that. And then Jimmy Graham. Okay, now this guy was drunk. Okay, so like that's insane. That should have been Kelsey. The number one, the guy's picking number one gets a gift here, and he ends up getting Kelsey and a decent wide receiver. So, okay, here's the deal. The lesson here is if you want Gronk or you want Kelsey, you're gonna have to pick them early in the second round. So you're gonna have to be down here. So don't have any illusions about picking number one and getting Kelsey. That should never have happened in this league. It should never have happened. It happened because of all this stupid drunken nonsense down here. All right, come back, Devontae Freeman, a little early but not bad. I like him a lot actually when he's not hurt. Jared Goff, there's no way Jared Goff should have. I mean, my goodness, man, he's like number 14 on my list. Mike Evans, T.Y., those are good ones. Cooper, Hill, good ones. And then I end up with the running back that I would have picked instead of Allen. I end up with him anyway. So I ended up lucking out. I get two amazing wide receivers and an okay running back. I mean, obviously Cam Newton's going to pooch a bunch of he's going to steal a bunch of touchdowns from him because he'll just run it in himself, that glory hound, and not hand it off. But the guy catches him out of the backfield. I had him last year as my second running back, I think, and he did okay. But, I mean, what are you going to do? You're drafting, it's your third pick, and you already picked two wide receivers. So that's my best running back. That's all I get, right? So Keenan Drake goes. Doug Baldwin, I would have waited for him. Tom Brady, no real surprise. Demaryius Thomas, good pick. LaShawn McCoy, thank God I didn't have to pick that knucklehead. Who knows what he's going to do next. He may get suspended at any moment. Jerick McKinnon's good pick. Zach Ertz, I was looking for Ertz. If Ertz would have been available here, I would have had something to think about. Because he's not in the Gronkowski Kelsey range of tight ends, but he's still an excellent tight end. And I really might have thought about that. But here we go. Drew Brees. So now Derrick Henry's still on the board. How is that even possible? So Derrick Henry's on the board. I gotta take him. I can't go reaching for this guy Ingram, who's like, I think he was listed like fourth on my list of tight ends, but he just suffered a concussion, and again he's on that terrible New York Giants team. I know I'm beating up on the Giants, but man, they stunk last year. So. Yeah, so I ended up picking Henry. I mean, face it, the Titans' running game was all their offense last year. I think they threw like 14 touchdowns all year, like receiving touchdowns all year. It's all running down there. So, yeah, I mean, that's the offense right there. So, this guy was drunk at this point. Smith-Schuster. I mean, come on, Juju should have gone somewhere down here. And then he was also picking for his friends, so he picks up Cleveland's tight end. All right, I'll show you the other. That was just the first 4 rounds. Let's look at the actual. Oh, of course, now you don't want to do it. The actual finished board. Oh, sorry about the camera there for a second. Okay, so now here we are. So we go back up, running back, wide receiver, another tight end. They're all grabbing tight ends now. So when I get back to my turn, I figure, well, either I'm going to get one of the worst tight ends ever, or, I'm going to pick my third wide receiver. No. My third running back. No. I wasn't ready for that. So I went with Kyle Rudolph. And the reason I went with Kyle Rudolph, there's something about Kyle Rudolph you need to know. He's in Minnesota. He's consistent. He played all 16 games last year. He played all of them. Gronkowski didn't play all of them. Now, Gronkowski outscored him like twice as much. But here's the thing. He's got a new quarterback, and quarterbacks love to use, just in general, like their tight ends as like a release valve, right? Spin off the line and boom. Just like they do with the running backs, but it's the dude that, what's his name? Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is notorious for throwing to running backs. And I also read that their offensive coordinator, their new offensive coordinator up there, is also really, in Minnesota, is also very heavy on using the tight end as a wide receiver. So I'm pretty happy about that, actually. Okay, so we went down, up, down, up, down. And then we're coming back. So we're coming back, and, I don't even know who this running back is. Bam, gone. Wide receivers are all gone. Am I going to pick another wide receiver? I don't think so. A running back? There's not much left here. And everybody here almost, a couple guys didn't have two, and I should have noticed that he didn't have two. He didn't have any at this point. He picks Lamar Miller. Alex Collins goes. I was kind of hoping Alex Collins would fall back to the 6th round down here, but I was wrong. And that's just something that happens. You get a feeling, you start thinking people are going to go after quarterbacks and whatnot, and they did. This guy goes after Ben Roethlisberger, and I end up getting Deshaun Watson, who on my list I think is the 4th best quarterback. Now, I wasn't going to pick a quarterback until much later, because last year I picked Aaron Rodgers in the 3rd round. I was picking 2nd or something, and he got hurt, and I ended up picking up Alex Smith, who was undrafted, off the wire, and ended up being one of the best fantasy quarterbacks last year. I doubt he's going to be that way in Washington, but he was last year, and I was going to pick a quarterback much later. But Hopkins, I got Hopkins and Watson. I read a couple things, said he's back into like even better form than he was. I know that's a lot of propaganda. Even better form than he was before he got hurt. But anyway, I was reading about it while I was waiting for my turn with these drunken dum-dums doing their stuff. And I guess it sold me. So I picked up Watson. I kind of like that combo there because, these guys are going to hook up at least once a game. So we'll see what Deshaun Watson can do in his sophomore year. That's my draft. And I missed out on Hogan and Cooks, Robinson, Tate. I had Tate last year. He was a workhorse. I didn't care about that. 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 So coming back, this is a guy to look for in late rounds. I wanted a 3rd running back because running backs are vulnerable in case they go down. This guy's name is Tariq Cohen. Now, Tariq Cohen is not the 1st running back in Chicago. However, what he is he's like this slash. In fact, he's like Danny Woodhead on drugs. Danny Woodhead back in the day, he was supposedly a running back, but he lined up in the slot and he did a lot of weird formation stuff. That's what Tariq Cohen is doing here for Chicago. So I basically got a wide receiver out of a running back. And in a full point PPR league, which we are, that's huge. So I was pretty happy about that. All right, so now you can see the defenses start going, and God bless them, man. Go get your defenses. The difference between the top defense on my list and the bottom defense is like about 20 points over the entire, or 30 points over the entire season. I'm not worried about that at all. They're notoriously hard to predict, and they mostly have to do with matchups. And now people are picking like kickers and stuff. So, all right, I end up with Cup, who is plays for the Rams, and I've heard great things about this kid. So he's my 3rd wide receiver, and he was like undrafted for some reason, and he was like laying out there on my list, very high up. Another guy, while we're talking about that, we don't have to go through the rest of my draft because this is all nonsense. It doesn't really matter. But another guy who was undrafted on my list at number 41 overall is Corey Davis for Tennessee. And as I said before, Corey Davis was the highest on my rankings of undrafted in our league. He's the number 1 wide receiver in Tennessee. Nobody picked him. So he's still available. Why didn't I pick him? I didn't pick him because I already got Derrick Henry. I already picked him because last year the Marcus Mariota didn't pass that many touchdowns. That team doesn't do a lot of passing. That's why I didn't pick him. But what a great grab he's out there. If I didn't have Henry already, what a steal to pick him up in later rounds, like instead of Sam Shepard, what a great, he'd been much better. I might actually go ahead and drop Shepard because he's playing for that crappy Giants team I keep talking about. And I might pick up Corey Davis as soon as they punch in the numbers and we're allowed to make trades. So that's one person. Who else didn't get drafted? I mean, I have to check this, but I think Mike Williams is still available as a wide receiver for the Chargers. And I didn't pick him either because I have Keenan Allen. And who needs Mike Williams when you got Keenan Allen? Pretty sure Pierre Garçon. No, here, Pierre Garçon's gone. And then, yeah, there's nobody else here that didn't get picked that I would really want. As far as that list goes, let's see here. Okay, so just as an addendum, here's my sheet, and so who's left at quarterback that's not picked? The new guy, Trubisky in Chicago. Blake Bortles is available. Jameis Winston is available. Ryan Tannehill is available. Joe Flacco is available. Tyrod Taylor is available. Yeah, so those are so they're still like, I mean, Flacco, I don't know, he's not the best fantasy quarterback, but he's a quarterback, so like he's still out there. So you could just wait and not pick a quarterback until the last round. You still end up with Joe Flacco. There's only so many in a 12 team, 24 go off the board. The tight ends are really cheap, or not cheap. They're expensive this year. There are no good tight ends left. Miami's tight end, Gesicki, I've never heard of him. O.J. Howard, bust. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, I think he had like one good game last year. Ricky Sealy-Jones, Ed Dixon, yeah, like there's just nobody left. Jesse James, I mean, you want the second tight end on the Steelers offense. I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think, no, there's no way Tevin Coleman's still available. He's got to be somewhere on this board. But according to my sheet, Tevin Coleman's still available, and he's a good handcuff for down in Atlanta when what's-his-name goes down. So he's still available. Chris Thompson's still available as a running back. The other Washington running back, Sam J. Perrine, Ty Montgomery, Giovanni Bernard, James White. None of these are really good choices. Running backs are expensive. I would say get running backs early, including your third running back. Wide receivers, like I said, Corey Davis is still available, Mike Williams. Calvin Ridley for Atlanta, no. Sammy Watkins, I just don't like that guy. The Jets, no. Those guys are available. Kickers, doesn't matter. Defenses, the Giants' defense was available. Arizona's defense is available. Cincinnati's defense. So, there's some okay defenses left. So anyway, that's what I learned from my draft. I hope this helps you, John, so that we can go into tomorrow night and you have an example, a real-life example, even though this one is really messed up. But maybe there'll be some drinkers at your draft as well, and they'll mess up, and we can take advantage of it. So check out this board. If you have any questions, post it or call me. And if anybody else is watching this video at all, let me know if this helped you. Give it a like and subscribe if you want it more. And give me any questions. I'll be happy to answer your questions. All right. Everybody out there, have a great day. Have a great draft. And be safe. And, they used to say it's not a draft unless the police show up. Well, the police were involved in our draft. All I want to say is that was some crazy screaming we heard outside afterwards. I don't know what was going on. But, yeah, the police actually showed up. They didn't come into the draft room themselves, but they were outside the building where we were drafting. And I got to find out what happened to the one guy who didn't come back. All right, well, I got some good stories, I guess, about this draft, and we'll see how it turned out. Y'all take care now.